What's going on, everybody? It is the one and only Q from Retro Q Gaming, and let's look at the next of our little E3 presentations that I wanted to talk about, but just because of timing and whatnot, I didn't get a chance to watch live. So I did manage to get a chance to sit down, watch the Square Enix Direct Showcase, whatever you want to call it, in its own form on my own time. I got some notes, went over everything they had. Anyway, let's do this. So kind of predictably, Square Enix opened big. They opened with the Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer. It's a new trailer, it's a big trailer, there's so much in there, and I'm not gonna lie, I choked up a little bit. The game means so much to me as a European guy who was so young at the time, and naturally I love JRPGs, and that was my first Final Fantasy game. I can't explain it too much in that regard. There's such a special meaning for it to me. They went in depth into the combat a bit more. Previously, this was a big concern that myself and many other people had, because previously it had looked like the awful Final Fantasy 15 combat. It's a little bit better than that now from what we see. They showed it off. It does have real-time combat, but there's also tactical mode, which lets you use special skills like limit breaks, magic, presumably summons anyway, down the line. But when you're doing your real-time combat and all, you start accumulating the tactical gauge, or the ATB gauge. And then once that fills up, you can enter tactical mode, which essentially moves the game into near full stop slow motion. You can rotate the camera, check out other different enemies to attack, come up with tactical choices, changes, whatnot. And that's when you can unleash your skills. They also add the ability to change characters at the push of a button mid-combat, so you can quickly swap back and forth between Barret, Cloud, whatever, to take advantage of the proper stuff in the proper situation. Enemies are also going to have a stagger bar, kind of like Final Fantasy 13. So once you manage to fill that bar and stagger an enemy, they presumably all drop to the floor and you can wail on them for bonus damage. And then, just when you think it's over, they pulled out all the stops and they showed off everyone's bay, Tifa. Someone's going to correct me and say, oh, it's Tifa. You're trying to tell me it's Tifa. It's always Tifa. It will always be Tifa. It grew up like that and nothing will ever change that in this brain. She looks damn good. Hopefully the rest of the game looks just as good. It's coming on 2 Blu-rays. It's going to be entirely, massively, hugely ginormous. And it's coming on 2 Blu-rays. It seems that they may have given up on the episodic release thing, and that they're putting both of them into the one full release, because it's coming on 2 Blu-rays, which will be about 100 gigs worth of content. They've said that the first disc is basically an entire game within itself, and that is basically all of Midgar. But the way they've changed it around and done everything with it, it's now so big that it fits all on one Blu-ray. And then presumably the second Blu-ray will be the rest of the game. What would be everything outside Midgar from disc 1, and then disc 2 and disc 3 from the original. Visuals look great. I can't wait to see how it runs and looks on a PS4 Pro. And then of course the inevitable, eventual, ultimate PC version down the line. Because don't forget, it's only debuting on PS4. It is a timed exclusive. It's been that way ever since it was first announced. Look back at E3 2015, right at the end of the trailer. Play it first on PS4. But anyway, they also showed off the standard edition, the deluxe edition, which comes with an art book and a CD. And they showed off the Soldier First Class edition, which is a big €300 monster. Comes with everything in the deluxe edition, as well as a full-size PlayArts Kai replica of Cloud from the Final Fantasy VII Remake, as well as his improved new motorbike. So naturally, yes, I had to have it. But probably the most important thing in this entire showcase for the entire everything related to Final Fantasy VII Remake is the release date is currently scheduled for March 3rd, 2020. It's a little bit earlier than I was expecting, and let's hope it doesn't get delayed and it doesn't need additional time so it's not rushed out or anything. Other than that, they showed off a quick Life is Strange 2 ad. They had a bunch of streamers on screen and all the different reviews and receptions it's got. Overall, it's a pretty good game. But after that, they moved along to Crystal Chronicles Remastered. Pretty much only a very quick trailer, quick ad, and they gave a little bit of a release window. Originally, they had just said it was going to be 2019, and now it's winter 2019. So it's a little bit narrowed down. I can't wait for it. Going to be picking it up on PS4. It's also out on Switch, but that's going to be where I get back to Crystal Chronicles. They moved on to a quick Octopath Traveler PC ad, which I had to have a good laugh at because of the mess of a release that is on PC. Not because of how it runs or anything, it's completely flawless in that regard. But there's so much wrong with it elsewhere. And surprising a lot of people after that, The Last Remnant Remastered, they had a new trailer for that, and it was just completely ninja released on Switch. They just said it's available tonight, just like that. Now, the big problem with this, the big problem I have at least with this anyway, is I've played tons of different strategy and management and sim games over all these years, and it's still a crap game. It was crap on the 360, it was crap on the PS3, I am going to assume it's crap on the PS4 because it's the exact same game, just remastered. But the funny thing about it is all these websites and everyone will give it 10 out of 10, and the YouTubers will give it 69 out of 10 just because it's on the Switch. It's still not a very good game, that's the problem. Anyway, moving off to Dragon Quest Builders 2. I always find these games kind of look cool and they're kind of interesting, but because of the amount of time you need to invest in a Minecraft style or clone or whatever you want to call it, I just don't have the time and the drive to do it. But especially when it comes to Dragon Quest Builders, I always think it looks cool to see a Minecraft clone like this that has what looks like a proper viable story mode instead of just something tacked on. But this seems like it's proper big, proper in depth, and proper in detail. And to be honest, it almost feels like this is the story mode is the proper let's call it meat of the game, and that the building is just a mechanic to drive it along. But that's a good thing. And of course, it's out on July 12th on PS4 with a playable demo on the PSN on June 27th. They had a quick brief showcase for Dragon Quest XI on Switch. There wasn't really much to show off there except a bunch of low quality 3D visuals, and they showed off the 2D mode as well, which does look kind of cool. It's basically playing the entire game like a Super Nintendo. Just go and look at Dragon Quest XI on the Japanese 3DS version and you'll see what I mean. It also comes out this autumn. And then Square Enix took a minute after that to talk about their Square Enix Collective. It's basically an initiative they have that helps recruit indie studios, helps them develop and publish their games under the Square Enix Collective label. They've showed everything, or they've showed a majority of stuff that they put out under the label after the last few years, and they showed what they have in store for 2020. Mainly, the one they highlighted and focused was something called Circuit Superstars. By a small Mexican studio, it's a kind of a throwback to old top-down arcade racing style games. That was followed up quickly by a Battalion 1944 ad. Not much to say in that regard. And then they announced to everyone what happened a few days ago. The Square Enix Music branch has now all, or at least a majority, of official Final Fantasy main games and some spin-offs and some extra ones too. All the soundtracks are now available on many popular streaming services like Spotify, Amazon Music, PlayStation Music, and there's about half a dozen more. They gave a work-in-progress Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer. This one was specifically related to the upcoming Remind DLC that's going to release in winter 2019. And that was followed up by Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. They showed off a big new hype launch trailer, but didn't have much to say other than that. If you analyse a lot of the stuff in the trailer, there could be massive plot points and massive spoilers for the new expansion. They had a quick teaser for Dying Light 2, which is kind of only published by Square Enix, but it makes sense that they'd want to show off a game they're publishing. Hopefully Dying Light 2 is great, the first one was great, although I am a little bit down that my boy Roger Craig Smith doesn't seem to be the main character. I don't know if it's still Kyle Crane, in which case if it is, that's going to give me a sad because Roger Craig Smith's not coming back, but it seemed to be Troy Baker. And then that was followed by 2 localization announcements. The first one was Romancing Saga 3, which is coming west to PS4, Vita of all things, Switch, Steam, Xbox, and iOS and Android phones. As well as Saga Scarlet Grace Ambitions, which is coming to Switch, PS4, Steam, and again, phones like iOS and Android. No proper date on them yet, just coming west, coming soon. And speaking of mobile games, they also went into more detail about Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, or specifically the new game in the series or the new game in the universe. War of Divisions Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. It's set in the same universe and it sounds like they're going to build an entire series or an entire universe around all these games and this setting and the location. So it's likely that everything in the future is going to grow. It's currently in development, there's no time or ETA on it just yet, and it's coming worldwide. After that, they brought out People Can Fly, the old studio from, well, technically they worked under Epic Games before. They made Gears of War Judgment and Bulletstorm, and they're showing off their new game, Outriders. It's very hard to say much about it just yet. It takes place in what looks like a futuristic ruined world inhabited by monsters which are always attacking, and they're the obviously bad guys. And it seems to mix a little bit of that whole dystopian ruined future with guns and current technology or future technology, and a little bit of magic as well. It's going to be a solo, duo, or a trio with drop in, drop out co op, and it's going to be coming in 2020 for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. There was also a quick trailer for Oninaki, which is the new game from the studio who brought you the games along the lines of, say, I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere. Still doesn't look very good in my opinion, but it's going to be out on August 22nd for PC, PS4, and Switch. And then, surprising so many people, myself included, something we all thought would never happen, actually happened, kind of. They announced that there will be an upcoming Final Fantasy VIII remaster for Xbox One, PS4, PC, and Nintendo Switch. I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know if they've somehow managed to come to an agreement where they can relicense the music, or if they're just going to change some of it. Remember, this is a remaster and not a remake like Final Fantasy VII. But to be honest, it's a decent improvement when it comes to what they're remastering and the quality of the remastering on a PS1 game. It's actually better than I expected. I had heard everyone going crazy last night about a Final Fantasy VIII remaster, and I basically expected it to just be the existing PC version on Steam for the last few years. But they've showed off a couple of side-by-side screenshots and comparisons between the original and the new remaster, as well as the current PC version and the new remaster, and the new one does look better. No proper release date or anything on it just yet, other than 2019, which is going to be good. I'm going to pick that up on PC. I've been meaning to play Final Fantasy VIII for a few years again at this point, and, well, I've kind of been slacking on that. I've never finished it. I got to the castle at the end, the very last dungeon, whatever you want to call it. And for those of you out there who know how that dungeon works, yeah, I got stuck. I got blocked in a certain place that I couldn't go back from. And with the choices I made, I couldn't progress forward. But Square Enix ended off their show with their first look into their new upcoming Avengers game. It's primarily developed by Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal. It's a standard third-person shooter game. You can use all the powers and abilities that you'd expect from along the lines of the characters that are included in it, like Black Widow, Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor. I wonder where Hawkeye is for all this stuff. Oh right, that's right, he's working with Bethesda in Ghostwire Tokyo. But strangely enough, a lot of people are unhappy about the looks and voices included with them. Because obviously they're not using the Marvel Universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe characters. Like from all the Avengers films and whatnot. I mean, it makes perfect sense. The endgame arc is technically over, so of course they're not going to use them. I mean, technically they could use one or two of them, but they're not going to use them in general. And naturally, because of the people involved, the money they would command, etc., it would cost considerably more as well. It's coming to PS4, Xbox One, Google Stadia, and PC, and it will have exclusive content in partnership with PlayStation, like Early Access Beta, as well as more that will be coming later. It's still a decent way off, roughly about a year, because it will be launching on May 15th, 2020. But that's it for Square Enix's conference. Let me know in the comments section below, what do you think about this conference? Were you blown away by the Final Fantasy VII Remake details, as well as the Final Fantasy VIII Remaster? Or what's the deal? Are you super hyped for anything else? Let me know all that good stuff in the comments section below. Hit the appropriate button to let me know how I did on the video, and while you're at it, why not head on over and hit the subscribe button and even ring the little notification bell. Granted, getting a notification from YouTube in current year about a new video upload or a live stream or whatever is a whole other story, but hey, at least you can say you tried, am I right? As always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the rest of the videos here on my channel.